Yes, the Bee Gees, and we have the same idea. Staying alive here on Cover Your Assets.
Well, Derek's got those white pants on in that leisure suit.
Yeah,
Stand up and show us.
I wore it.
It's the white patent leather shoes.
We'll post the picture on the website.
Like with you moonwalking backwards on the lighted dance floor. Cover Your Assets, 855-835-8500. That's 855-8500. Excuse me. Derek Walgrave in the house. We've got Todd Rooker and Craig Nestor, as always, around the table. And joining us today is Heidi Pavelka from Rubicon Mortgage. And we've been talking about what happens and some of the thought processes that go into deciding to let your home go to foreclosure if you're in that situation, or possibly short sell. Sitting down with Todd Rooker and finding out what the implications and your long-term plans may be. But Derek, let's start with you in this segment, because we really got into the short sell realm, and you and your brother Jason are really, pretty renowned experts on this. Talk about your record and the different paths that the short sells get to you.
And I'll let everyone on a little secret with our success rate. I mean, we are right in that 90 percentile right now for success rate of short sales, and I think the national average is 25 to 30%. One of our secrets is simply we send our clients to Todd. I mean, when they come into us, it's true. I mean, and since we formed this team, that has been one of our secret weapons, because when a client comes into us, we need to sell our house in a short sale. Mm-hmm. We'll explain to them their options and how it works, the process. But before we do anything, we want them to go to Todd, because that might not be in their, and it might not be in their best. I mean, they may end up going to Todd and figuring out that the foreclosure is the best route. And when they come back to us from Todd, the short sale is the best route to go, and that's where our success rate is.
Or they wouldn't be there.
Exactly. So that's something that Jason and I talk about a lot, and and our clients, when they come in, they need to know their options, and we can't always give them their best options. So that unbiased information needs to come from Todd. So I mean, the segments before this, you have an idea of the complexities of the mortgages and what's going on in this market. If you don't have a strategy for you, and look, where the banks were 5 years ago versus now, I mean, they have been building complex strategies to win the battle. It's different.
They've had 9 million foreclosures to practice on. They're good at it.
Exactly.
I mean, we're talking about 9 million foreclosures, not 9 million loan mods, not 9 million short sales.
They have written detailed books on strategies how to win this game. 5 years ago, they didn't have that. You need to have a team to protect you through this. And if you don't, you're not going to win. You're not going to win the battle in this.
And the point of sending them to Todd from a real estate agent's perspective, Derek Walgrave, is really to what?
Well, when we have a client come in and they're determined that a short
they heard at the water cooler that's right. The way to go, man.
Yeah, exactly. And there are complexities of their budget, the mortgages, the loans that they have, the situation, what their goals are. Those are things that we're not going to be able to guide them all the way through. Todd is going to. And again, with the short sale, I mean, there are certain things that need to happen. But look, we may be able to sell your house in a short sale, as you come in, but it might not be to your benefit. So again, that's where the diverting back to Todd and having them go through that process, that's very, very important.
And then that they're qualified. They know what their eyes are open through the process.
Precisely.
And then you can also simultaneously, and part of Todd's role in this is setting them up for where they're going to go next, which kind of involves you, Heidi Pavelka from Rubicon.
Correct, it does.
So talk about, at this point in time, this real estate situation, if you will, that we've been in for the last few years. There are people that have done short sales in the past, and believe it or not, they can actually get qualified for financing again in the future, right?
Absolutely. And like Craig was talking about with his situation, with the investor, it is a strategic plan, but you really have to know what's ahead of you, where he could sit there and walk away and say, I'm just going to let it go into foreclosure, pocket the money. But a foreclosure can take anywhere from 6 months to 3 years. So at that time, after the 3-year mark, then you have to wait another 3 years. So you just wasted 6 years when it could have been done in a couple of years. So that's, one thing that you have to kind of know what your goals are, what your plan is, and what you're going to do. And with short sales, it's just a matter of, the time frame. It's a matter of the mortgage late payments that are coming into that short sale situation, if any at all. And then after that, it's usually a 2 to 3 year process from that time. So that way, you're not looking at a 6 to 7 to 8 years down the road while, the Bank of America that has 9 million foreclosures to deal with, that they're, it's all going to happen within a time frame that you have planned out, as opposed to putting your head in the sand and
Well, how do you talk about being able to come back after foreclosure? And there's some programs that allow as little as 3 to 4 years.
Correct.
But some banks, it's never.
Correct.
It's not every program's open. It's not like you're a 740 beacon score with reestablished trade lines and you can go out there and snap that A paper. That's just one of the qualifiers of probably 20 is that you are 4 years removed from a foreclosure. Correct. And that's just one program for one lender. But it gets significantly harder after that.
Absolutely.
And for some lenders, it's 10 years.
Yes.
And some, it's never.
Yes. And I mean, there's caveats to every single guideline, underwriting, lender, investor. Everything has to do, because that all turns around on a secondary market, which is a whole nother conversation. But it's a matter of what you have reestablished from that time. And a lot of times it's very hard to reestablish. You need a certain amount of trade lines from a foreclosure or a bankruptcy that the lender or the bank has to see that you have made good on what you're now paying on. So there's a lot of caveats to what you have to do moving forward and getting you back into a financial situation of getting back into a home so you're not in a renting situation.
So it's no longer the days of 80 million lenders and mortgage companies advertising on TV and radio and you can get a loan. You really live with clients for a while because in a lot of cases you have to walk them through, in some cases, some different types of recovery processes to get them back through there. Which brings me to some happy talk between you and Mr. Walgrave over here. Rates are unbelievable. Talk about what people can do right now.
Yes. I mean, right now we're sitting at rates below 4%.
Oh.
I mean, that's free money.
I know.
That's free money. With government programs, you're looking at 3.75. With conventional programs, you're at 3.875. And what you can do, like Craig had a great commentary on it as far as calling it the layaway program for the rates.
Yeah, layaway your low rate.
With what has to happen like you said, we're in the 4 and 13, with what the government has to do on the U.S. Treasury and selling $177 billion worth of debt, what do you think is going to happen? There's a lot of volatile situations. We're at the fourth quarter right now, and a lot of things have to happen. So now's the time to lock. I mean, you can lock on a 60-day lock. You can lock on a 90-day lock. It's just a matter of what you want to do in the near future because, come January 1st, with the government and with everything that's going on, we don't know what's going to happen.
So we know it's a good time to get in a house, Derek Walgrave, that you can literally buy for less than rent. And that's not just to come online for a commercial anymore right now. I mean, it's really, really true. Talk about what's out there for people that don't have a home to sell and have the ability to get into the market and investors right now.
Well, the first-time home buyers or people that are coming into this market, I mean, it is an unbelievable time to buy, and I mean, with rates and values,
everything's on sale.
It is, and just to clarify, the rates that we're talking about, we're not talking about 2-1 ARMs and 3-1 ARMs. We're talking about 30-year fixed rates.
Yes,
something that that is never going away for as long as they're in the house making payments on their house. Right. And we're finding values, and it's so affordable right now to buy. And this, the steals out there, we call them, are just, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. And, and even for those that have to sell a house that are upside down, buying up. I mean, we've given examples, Heidi's given examples on the show where someone has sold their house that they're upside down, have, basically they've had to pay a portion of it down in order to sell it. It wasn't a short sale. And they bought up and their payments were less. Their payments were less with a house that was seemingly $300,000 more than what their house was when they purchased prior. So, I mean, there's the advantages of that are just unbelievable, and not many people talk about that.
And that's a good point. And I'm just going to interrupt you real quick, just because of there's so many programs out there that have the ability. A lot of people think I'm upside down, I can't do anything. That is so incorrect. There are programs, and they are rolling out, part of the Obama programs that are coming out and being enhanced, coming out in the spring, where
the Obama enhancement.
There you go. That's great.
Please
Does that
continue.
mean they'll actually work? I'm just asking. No.
As far as people that are upside down, there are programs out there for you. Right now, you can go to 125% on your first with an unlimited combined loan to value if you do have a second mortgage. And if you're sitting at 6.5% and you can get down into the 4s, I mean, look at the savings right there, along with just with what the government is trying to do to help people in these bad situations. They are trying to enhance the program where there is no limit on the loan to value. So you're going to be able to refinance with an amazing rate. I talk to people all the time that are in the 7s, 6.5%, 7%. And to look at a rate now in the 3s and in the 4s, it's free money.
Specifically, for clarification's sake, explain what you meant by there is no limitation on loan to value.
There's no limitation on loan to value, meaning if you owe $150,000 on a home and now your value is worth $90,000, you still have the ability to refinance. And that's what a lot of people think. They want to stick their heads in the sand and forget about it and be upset. But you have to make the initiative to make the phone call and to ask the questions to the
Well, what was
experts.
happening is the people that were paying their bills on time were carrying the loan modifications and the foreclosures of their neighbors. So they're the ones that were making their payments on time, but they couldn't access, like Derek said, the lowest interest rates we've seen in 50 years. So the movers, the shakers, the people that are making money, that have a chance to move up, couldn't move. And so the government, as far as trying to socialize and answer, came up with, well, hey, let's provide some relief to those folks that are carrying the heavy burden and see if we can stimulate the economy with people that already have jobs.
So they don't lose their home either,
and this
or
isn't
choose
a
to
loan.
walk away.
This isn't a loan modification.
No.
This is a refinance.
Correct. It's part of the movement of the Making Home Affordable initiative that started everything, because the government recognized where everybody's at right now. They have to refinance in order to stay in their home.
Additionally, for people who've been told because they have second mortgages they can't do this, many times a second mortgage will subordinate their second position, and consequently they just stay in the same position. They don't lose or gain, but you'll keep that, and you can refinance the first, which with a combined blended rate you'll be vastly better off.
Yes. And that's different, and that's new. 855-835-8500. That's 855-835-8500. More with the Cover Your Assets crew after this.